This is breaking news.
As Title 42 is set to expire, Rockland officials are talking about the possible increase of asylum seekers to the county.
Shelter. So to the extent, there's a lot of noise out there about, whether sanctuary or not sanctuary, that has nothing to do with the town of Orangetown and all. This is about the integrity of our zoning codes and the legal use of this property. So that's where the town of Orangetown is, and I will hand it over to Ed Day, who will tell you any steps they've taken.
Thank you. Thank you, Teresa. First of all, I want to thank you for all the work you and your team have been doing here. It's been very difficult over a short period of time, but the town of Orangetown has stepped to the plate and done a great job for the people of Orangetown. As you all know, over the weekend I declared a state of emergency in Rockland County to prevent the busing of hundreds of migrants to a hotel right here in Orangetown. This is not because we're anti-immigration, as was stated so eloquently by the town supervisor, but because our services are already at a breaking point. In just a few months, natural migration in here in Rockland County has resulted in a 35% increase in children in foster care. Over 1,000 children enrolled in the school district up here, the East Rampart School District, over and above what they can handle. Nonprofits assisting double or triple the numbers of families they did a year ago. And also our food pantries are being stressed at where one time they were open until 1 or 2 in the afternoon. They're closing down at 11 o'clock in the morning now. Just this past March, we tragically lost 5 people, including 2 children in a fire, in a home that burned that had 18 people inside it. That's a housing crisis. We right now have been deputized by the state to try to straighten that out. But this is, again, issues of crisis here in Rockland County. But despite raising all these concerns, which we have been echoed overwhelmingly by our residents in emails, phone calls, and on social media, the City of New York, as of last night, was still choosing to ignore all of it and still proceed with their plan to move hundreds of migrants here to Orangetown beginning today. Thankfully, the efforts of town supervisor and her team has prevented that, at least for a temporary basis. And as they call this a pilot program, I know this will not be the only hotel they try to fill in this county. In fact, my administration learned that the city's contracted operator of these shelters, DocGo, is searching for other commercial spaces in search of commercial spaces to house migrants. We just learned yesterday they reached out to a hotel in Nyack to pursue a similar deal. Tom? Thank you. This is a New York City document right here. I think, Beth, you have given these out. All right, you all have this, okay? This space, the city is looking at emergency sites such as gyms or dorms that are available publicly, and that could be used by the city to temporarily provide immediate relief to any and all seekers. So basically, instead of speaking to us, instead of laying a plan of action to us, instead of coming to us a month or 2 ago so we could try to figure out what the issue is, they just say basically, Rockland, be damned, we're going to do what we want to do. And that is really a sad commentary. And I don't know how you call something where Mayor Adams turns around and talks about a humane effort. He's made a big deal of that. Does that mean putting people into warehouses? That's a humane effort? That's what the goal of the city is? This is not right. And the bottom line is that the home rule of this state does not have the authority over a county or town to volunteer us for placement, especially when we have been telling that we don't have the infrastructure to help. We have people here who need help, and we've been helping them as best we can. Mayor Adams sending these asylum seekers to Rockland, it is not fair because one simple reason, you're setting them up for failure in the future. A failure that will result in their inability to support themselves or find safe housing. The plan is short-sighted, universally opposed locally, and will only endanger the lives of our residents, both current and future. I urge you in the strongest possible terms, stop. Stop what you're doing, because we will not stop fighting you and your plan through this multi-pronged approach that's alongside Orangetown. Yesterday, on a call with the county executives, the Governor Kathy Hochul's administration confirmed 2 things: that they were also left in the dark about the City of New York's decompression plan. They had no idea about this plan. And they also said the plan does not have their support nor their blessing. That is powerful statements being made by the governor's staff. It's something I would hope the mayor would listen to it. What they do support is working with New York City on selecting appropriate sites within the city. I'll repeat that, within the city. not in Rockland, not in Orange, not in Dutchess, not anywhere else. This hotel is not an appropriate site. In fact, further investigation revealed that Armoni in Suites in Orangeburg actually has an expired hotel permit and therefore cannot be used to operate until the permit is reissued by a Department of Health. As if the County of Rockland has declared a state of emergency, the establishment must get a license now required by our emergency order before that permit can be renewed. Furthermore, based upon the intent and activities expressed by the Mayor of New York City, the County Department of Health must investigate whether or not that permit is even practicable. As we know, the intent of the use will not be as a hotel, it will be as a New York City shelter. For that very reason, last evening, the County of Rockland also filed a lawsuit seeking a temporary restraining order against the City of New York for its lack of authority to establish a shelter outside of its boundaries. I'd like to invite a Department of Social Services Commissioner, Joan Silvestri, who can dive a little bit into this so it would be a better understanding of exactly what we found. Joan?
Good morning. As Ed indicated last night, about 11:30 last night, the county filed a lawsuit against the City of New York, the Commissioner of Social Services in New York City, on the basis that they have said they're using this as a hotel, and it's not a hotel, it's a shelter. They have hired security, they have rules and regulations, they have set up curfews, they have a shelter operator. It's a shelter. And in order to set up a shelter in the state of New York, there is a process that has to go through, and that is with the New York State Office of Temporary Disability Assistance, OTDA. They failed to do it. That includes going to site plans, approvals, inspections. It's a lengthy process. The governor, the mayor knows this because he issued his own executive order to go through in his boroughs to accelerate that process. He has no authority to do that in Rockland County, and any attempt to set up a shelter has to go through the state, and as Ed indicated, they don't have the state support. So we filed suit looking for another temporary restraining order late last evening.
Finally, before I turn it back over to the supervisor and questions from all of you, I want to address my fellow Rocklanders. We understand your frustration and your concerns, but as our sheriff, who has done an amazing job through all of this, has said, we cannot break the law to enforce the law, and we will not do that. Some think this is a very simple thing to deal with. This is not simple. This is a very involved scenario. However, that said, as you can see, we have been engaged in a multi-pronged intergovernmental approach to this challenge. We will continue to strategize and implement any and all legal actions that are designed to stop this forced transfer of migrants here that will compromise the suburban character of our county. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So if there are any questions?
Yeah, I want to know, the governor issued an executive order yesterday calling on municipalities that can help to help. So what's your response to the governor? She's asking people to step up around the city.
I haven't looked at the executive order, but it certainly doesn't by any means exempt our town laws. I mean, that's at the essence of this case is that we have a town code, a town law, and it allows that property to be operated as a hotel no longer than transient stays of no more than 30 days.
Let me just add to that very simply. We are helping. This is the problem we have here, is a lack of communication between different levels of government, except in Orangetown and Rockland County, obviously. We have migrants up here already. There are people who've come to this county, and they've come here not because they just picked it on their own. They have family and friends up here. So we have been trying to absorb that progression of migrants who have been coming here already. So that's been going on. To turn around and bring in 340 more people at one time, when you grasp the fact that right now we have 70 people listed as homeless people in Rockland County, 70. So, and that takes a lot of work, and I give Joan Silvestri and the team a lot of credit. Think about stopping and saying 5 times that number in one day. So it's not like we don't want to help. It's not that we can't help. But I said earlier during my comments, there are a lot of things we're doing now, and we are under stress also. So, unlike the mayor of New York, we don't look to another county to drop our problems on. We fix them here. We do what we can do here. We have an amazing group of people in government that do great work. And we are doing that in service to the people who are here, whether they be migrants or anybody else.
The executive in Newhouse County, the executive in Orange County said that he would be open to working with the city and the state and other county executives to try to figure out a plan over the next 1 or 2 weeks. Would you be willing to, with negotiation, come to a plan to take some of these people, especially with the expiration?
I will say this to you. From the very outset when I spoke, I was very clear. A phone call, tell us what's going on, we would appreciate that. I'm not going to engage in conjecture as to what will or will not happen, but let's put it clear. I'm the county executive for Rockland County. The mayor is the mayor of the city of New York. He has not picked up a phone. His staff did not tell us very early on what was going on. They've done nothing but obfuscate the issue. That's all they've been doing. They did not tell the supervisor of Orangetown what was going on. That's not how this works. It's improper, it's disrespectful, and it's not productive. So to your question, I will always listen. We'll let it go with that.
Can someone explain the status of the hotel now? I saw town building inspectors there yesterday checking things out, so do they have those permits? What is their status now?
No. As of now, they were there was calls for violations, that there was some kind of debris in the back or whatever. So I think the inspectors were down there based upon a complaint that they got. From the town standpoint, from our legal matter, it can operate as a hotel. They just can't take homeless people from under New York City's care. So they can operate as far as the town's legal matter is concerned. Now, the county may have something else.
But as the county's regulations stand, they cannot operate as a hotel. Their license to operate has been suspended.
Can we just clarify the two different applications before the court? The one that I get the one that was filed late, that they're setting up a de facto homeless shelter, not operating as a hotel. But the first one where the temporary one was issued, what was the basis of the argument of that?
It's basically the law, the one that the order was issued on?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have zoning codes, and their certificate of occupancy, their approved use from the town of Orangetown is to operate a hotel, which is defined as transient stays of no more than 30 days. It's a hotel. New York City, in the dark of night, because I will say that is part of the problem here. I mean, if somebody wants to take the blame for how this is happening, it falls on the mayor's office. To get a call last Friday that they had this plan, no answers. Not how many, not how long, not what happens at the end of the 4 months. We found all this out on our own, going between the county and going onto their sites. We were not asked, we were not consulted. Very, very easily could have told them it's not a permitted use under the town of Orangetown's codes. So in light of all the information we had, we went to the court and said, look, they're operating a New York City shelter in the town of Orangetown, and it's not legal pursuant to our town code. So the judge thought there was enough to at least stop it until she could hear the case more detailed. But again, I've said it all along, and I'm at the town level, but if the mayor really wanted a successful plan, it was on him to reach out months, and not weeks, with all due respect, months ago. This has been in the works for months. These got flyers that they're handing out months ago and say, look, we're overfilled, we need help, what can you do, how can you do it, how can we work together? You don't call on a Friday, and with all due respect, I believe they were coming that weekend, because when I spoke with the mayor's office on Saturday, he said, it's very likely they'll be there by the end of the weekend. It was a sneak attack in the dark of night. They gave us a debriefing call at 4:30 yesterday when they had buses planned to come today. We had already filed our papers because we knew it was coming, and then the judge issued the temporary restraining order about 5 o'clock, a little bit after there. So the questions about how we're responding, we could have responded totally different if we had been given some kind of advance notice and been involved in the conversation.
So can you answer your own question that you said the mayor should have asked? What would you do if you had the time to prepare? Are you guys thinking about what you could do in the future, knowing that Title 42 expires tomorrow and that thousands of people will be coming here?
So aside from the town of Orangetown, they should have reached out to our Department of Social Services. These are the people that are going to be left to deal with the situation. Again, we didn't know what that was. No one told us what the plan was. I still don't know that we know what the plan is. What we've been told is that after the 4 months, if they still haven't, found their way out into housing of some sort, that New York City DSS would take them back, which means they gave them up for a while. So they are basically transporting homeless people into the town of Orangetown. So I would have worked with the county exec, Department of Social Services, our mayors, we have villages, and said, what can we do? Is there some place to house these people that is legal? And those are all questions which we didn't get the time to answer, because since last Friday, we've been running around trying to figure out what's even happening.
But you must have started thinking about it now. So is there a place?
To be honest, I haven't started thinking about anything other than this since Friday afternoon, so.
One of the things too is, this I showed you earlier today, this is another example of the problem. The problem is that much of what's in here probably is illegal under the zoning codes. If somebody had asked, maybe we could have helped work together. As I said earlier, we have people coming to Rockland County from New York already. We are helping out. As it relates to Title 42, maybe instead of looking at the town of Orangetown or the county of Rockland on a national issue, maybe all of you should catch up to the president when he's over in Westchester County and ask him this question, because that's where the problem is right now.
Is when the latest legal action again by the county?
I'm sorry?
The latest legal action by the county.
The newest legal action by the county?
Oh,
Joan,
Joan.
go ahead, Joan. She's Sylvester's the client.
A little bit clearer.
Yeah.
When was it filed? What is it?
It was filed, I think, at 11:36 last evening.
Yes,
It was a
that's
late
correct.
evening last night. Basically, it's saying that the city of New York, there's two ways to house homeless, and that is through social services law, and that is through a shelter or through an emergency use hotel. And emergency use hotel is that, you know, someone comes in the door to social services, you have nowhere to place overnight, we can't vet them for a shelter of health codes and other things. And so for a day or two, they are staying in a hotel. They are a guest in a hotel. And we have permission to do that. The only regulation we have is we have to go in and inspect those places every 6 months to make sure they're in an appropriate setting for us to make these emergency placements. The people do not stay over 30 days. Matter of fact, in Rockland, we make sure that doesn't happen more than 28 days in any hotel. We have very few people staying in the hotels in Rockland. The other way to house folks that are homeless are through a shelter. A shelter system for adults is very regulated in the state of New York. So what the city of New York is attempting to do is to skirt all of those regulations to set up a shelter, but actually operate as a shelter. So now they're violating the codes of Orangetown, which is clear by their intent. They're violating the social services law as well as OTDA regulations. They need to go there to establish it, and without that, they can't. They can call it what they want. It is a shelter. You don't, you know, when I send someone to a hotel, I don't give them a curfew. I don't give them a set of rules or regulations that they have to follow when they can come, when they can go. I don't provide 3 meals a day. I do not do laundry service for them. I do not hire security for the hotel. I do not hire shelter staff. I do not hire caseworkers located in the hotel. This is a shelter, and the city of New York bypassed all of the regulations to set it up. That's if they even have the power to do that. So
Was the restraining order granted last night, or was the request made in that?
the request has been made. Again, 11:30 last night. We're waiting on.
What's the next legal date then?
We're waiting for everything to be signed by the judge, with potentially a hearing and potentially a ruling on the temporary restraining order.
Rockland has 340,000 people.
Yeah.
What is the county's capacity for the kind of shelter that you described? A set building with food, with meals?
We have a family shelter, and we still have room in that. We do not have a full-time shelter for single adults. And I want to make something, now this becomes very technical when you're talking about migrants and people without status. Right now, we are not obligated, nor is any county in the state of New York, because we do not receive any funds from the feds or the state to do this, for anybody without status. The only people that stay in a shelter that we're obligated to provide overnight shelter for is people with a legal status in this country, except during the cold winter months where we open a warming center to do that. And that is a concern if they open that there. Our warming center only holds 75 people, but we've averaged anywhere from 25 to 60. So we have capacity for Rockland folks. We have capacities for the folks that have naturally come here as migrants. But the adults that qualify, we put up in a hotel. As of this morning, we have nobody in a hotel. We have nobody seeking shelter as an adult in Rockland County. We have homeless that are choosing that as their status. It's the only thing I can say. We have many people that, those 70 folks you're talking about, that mental health issues and others. We have workers on the ground working with those people. We make sure that they're safe, that they get medical care, that do food. But right now, the federal government does not give any aid to any municipality for anybody that doesn't have a legal status in this country. And as a result of that, this would fall on the County of Rockland and others. Now, we're not without a heart. We have given monies, as these migrants have come in, to many of our nonprofits. You saw them here the other day. We've upped the amount we're giving to our food pantries in anticipation of the Title 42. We've been working with them over months. I have 3 new contracts that are going out. We're able to do that. But most of the folks that have come to Rockland, honestly, they have linkages here. They have family, they have friends. They have the ability to get a job. They naturally come here. They enroll in our schools. We take them in.
Joan, all that funding was county funding, not...
That's all county funding.
All county funding.
That is that. We do not see any reimbursement on any of that. That falls with us, and we do that, and we work with our community partners because Rockland is a good county to live in.
Question for both Teresa and Ed. Teresa, you said that yesterday you learned that there would be buses that would be coming today. Ed, you talked about NIAC and the city's proposal to house people in warehouses. So essentially what you're saying is that after a state of emergency was declared here in Rockland County, as of yesterday, the city was still trying to do an end run, correct?
Yes.
Okay, could you clarify that for us?
Well, they had a debriefing, and they invited anybody, I guess someone, were you on the call, your staff?
I have my staff on the call.
And they told us that a bus would be coming to the Armani Hotel here and to the one up in Orange County. They were starting, and they were very clear, they were gonna be sending 30 single male adults yesterday, but they would be ramping up very, very quickly thereafter. So, but yes, they clearly were going to be violating the state of emergency.
Can you explain, you have the County Department of Health has said that the permit, the temporary for the Armani is expired, and that it expired April 30th. Tom or someone, can you explain, when they put the permit in to reapply for their permit, did they reapply after the date? Did they do it after they were notified? Was it before the date and it didn't go through?
Yeah.
And what is their status now? How can they operate if you have the DOH citing them?
Very simple. First of all, Nancy, I can't answer part of that question, but I certainly can tell you, in fact, it expired April 30th. They did apply subsequently, but it was not back on May 1st, for example. I mean, we can tell you that. So it was a recent reapplication, and it was in the middle of everything we're talking about now, and as I said earlier in my prepared statements, that there are issues here now because the fact is there is clearly an intent not to use this as a hotel. So the matter is under review, and we'll make a judgment when we can.
So can they operate as a hotel?
They cannot, their ability, I misspoke on one thing. Their permit is expired. They cannot operate as a hotel under any circumstances.
Are there any other legal options you're thinking of? I know on Monday you kind of hinted at some.
I think you've heard a few of them.
I just know on Monday you were hinting at other ones.
No, right? If I wake up, if I think of another one, I'm sure Teresa and I will give you a call. No, we're right. Look, again, what I wanted to emphasize to the people of Rockland is that we're engaged in a multi-pronged approach. We're not looking to hurt anybody. We're looking to make sure things are done the right way. What you can see, I think if you take a look at everything that's going on right now, this has just not been done the right way. If any of you were sitting up here as the head of Orangetown, the head of the county, and you were presented with the things you're being presented with by the city of New York, how would you feel? How would you react? What would you say and do to protect the people you're charged with protecting and serving as part of your job? That's what this comes down to. There is no reason. I have never seen such arrogance and such bulliness in my entire career in this government. I've never seen this. This is just unbelievable. So, I mean, you know, again, I think some of the questions you have, you should send them back to the mayor and ask him, but I cannot believe that he's continuing to do the same thing, as Teresa said, in the light of all the legal blockades that are up in front of him, and they're proper. He's going to send people to a hotel that can't operate. He knows that. That's in the state of emergency. So, I mean, if the mayor's people are willing to send people to a hotel that's not willing to operate and put people in legal jeopardy at the same time. I don't know what to say. I really don't.
There's a change in the parking
Sorry?
lot there at Armoni. Can you describe your orders or the
This has been breaking news.